Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to the Mindful Session. My name is Inisa Kamara. I'm the host of the show, and I have the privilege, as usual, always, having my co-host.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave Sleet, and as he says, I'm just a co-host.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking about fresh starts. And, many of us do need to hear this because the funny thing about life is that we need to acknowledge the fact that every day that we're given the chance to be awakened, to get up out of bed, to smell the fresh air, given a sense of, air, the sense of freshness to open our eyes, we have to be grateful. So when we say fresh starts, we are going to go into it a little bit more. David?
So this week I've had probably about 7 or 8 different people tell me their experiences of starting fresh and having a new outlook on the back of, for some people, some pretty tough experiences. And how important that they've felt that moment of saying, this is my fresh start.
When we say a fresh start, some people actually cannot comprehend the whole aspect of a fresh start. Now, when it depends on, the extent we're speaking of. When we lose someone, we can say a fresh start. But when we say lose someone, again, that's quite broad, So what is it specifically that it is that we're focusing on when we're talking about fresh start?
Whatever point in someone's life when they get to the point of saying, do you know what, everything I've been through, whatever that experience might be, they get to a point and they say, okay, that's done. Now I'm moving on. Whether that's on the back of grief, whether that's the back of trauma, whatever experience somebody's had. It can be, for the case of one of the people that I've been speaking to this week, is the experience of going into a new home and how important leaving everything that was attached to the old home behind and going, this is the point where I can have a fresh start.
You see, when we talk about that, because I also tend to deal with a lot of individuals, that we tend to focus on, let the past be the past, and we have a new fresh start. Well, we say, you know what? When you open a book, it's a fresh page. Look at that as a fresh start. Write your new beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
So many people go through so many triumphs, so many obstacles. So we need to find a way for them to leave all those obstacles behind and start a new page in life.
Yeah.
Have a fresh start.
And there are things from the past that you will carry forward with you into that fresh start. Experiences, lessons that you've gained from that experience.
And that's what makes us who we are.
Exactly. But we don't have to carry everything from the past into that fresh start. So we can, once we've kind of gone through the process of dealing with whatever that experience might be, we get to a point, go, okay, I can carry forward this bit and I can leave that bit behind. And that's another way of kind of defining that point of time.
And also, as the saying goes, in life, for you to achieve, you cannot afford to be turning behind you.
You're not going that way.
Precisely. You're moving forward.
Yep.
So let the past be the past and acknowledge each day as it comes and try to do better the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So every day
breath.
that you have been given a new day, you're given the chance to breathe, to be able to see the sun shine, smell the roses. That is a fresh start.
Yeah.
Whatever happened yesterday is the past.
And having that mindset that says, okay, that was yesterday, whatever yesterday was, it gives you that chance to say tomorrow is not going to be the same as yesterday, and today I am going to focus on making sure that tomorrow happens the way I want it to.
Precisely.
And it's that focus, but it's the self-awareness of being able to pull that divide from whatever it is that you want to leave behind, whatever it might be. And whether it's moving into a new home, and Simon, the very best wishes to you moving into your new home this week. It really is a fresh start for you. For the people that are looking at how do they restart their careers in the backdrop of the pandemic, they're all looking at the possibilities of fresh starts. And it's that moment of saying, my future is not determined by my history, and what you can do as an individual to move forward, to grow. I'm not talking about changing, I'm talking about growing. And that is the ultimate fresh start.
That was something that I put up on Facebook. Let me just read it. It said, the one thing that you have that no one else has is you. Your voice, your mind, your story, your vision. The more you know, the more enlightened you will become. The more you learn about yourself and others, the more you become more humane. The more knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is empowerment. So we go through so much in life, and we gain so much experiences. And again, that's what gives us a voice. That's what we learn from. And that's what gives us the ability to enlighten other people. And we learn each and every day that we go through lives. Now, because yesterday you hit something, you hit your head, you bump your head, or whatever it is, you had an argument with someone, or you lost money, don't mean it's going to reoccur. You have a fresh start the following day to improve, to make sure what happened yesterday don't reoccur.
Yeah.
The whole aspect of life is moving forward.
And one of the tips I use quite often now is if you thought about every minute of the day as a pound, and you start the day with that mountain of pound coins, and as soon as you start feeling as though you're giving that time away on a negative, you have a choice. Do you carry on paying over to the negative, or do you say, actually, hold on, no, I don't need to pay the negative, I need to hold on to what I've got right now. And if you can get to a point where you can say, no, I'm not paying Mr. Negative, I am going to hold on to what I've got for the rest of today, you're already on a fresh start.
I like that. I've read something similar to that. I cannot recall to be exact, but it's a reference to, I will give you £1 million today, and you can spend it today. And you get up tomorrow, you have another £1 million. So whatever you use today is gone tomorrow, by tomorrow. Tomorrow, you have another £1 million. So basically, in essence, how you utilize your time, it's on you, but you have 24 hours. You can do anything within that time. You can tend to make money, you can tend to lose money. You can tend to make friends, you can tend to lose friends. But whatever the obstacles are, you have a fresh start each and every day.
And Henry Ford said it better than anybody else that I've ever heard. Whether you think you are right or whether you think you are wrong, you will be right.
Right. I love that. I love it.
Because we go out to prove ourselves right, whatever we believe. So if we think something's going to turn out badly, we go out to prove that we were right, that it turns out badly. So we create that.
Absolutely.
Subconsciously, we will look for the things that say that this isn't what it should be.
And I said so. I told you it wouldn't work out. Why are we doing it? I told you that.
So we try and force that gremlin inside our mind tries to prove us right.
You know, one thing I love about being with David is like sometimes he reads my mind. I put something again on social media, and it's about the laws of attraction, you know, through vibrations. And he said many has started, you know, assuming that there's no such thing as luck. But in actuality, if you believe in limitations, you limit yourself. But the laws of attraction states that if you do positive, believe in positivity, you reap the benefit of positivity. But if you believe in negativity and you start your day in a negative way, you will reap the aspect of negativity. Laws of attraction. So every day that we are that we wake up, the way you start your day, as I always say, is the way you end it. So every day that you get up, meditate, give thanks for another day, appreciate what you have.
Take that moment for your own self-awareness, and that in some respects it pushes the rest of the world's energy away so you can choose what to let in, rather than wake up and get hit by whatever else is going on around you. You buy yourself that time, and it is a really powerful tool. One of the things that I think is always worth to remember is luck is made up of many things. Primarily, for me, it's a combination of 4. Listen, understand, communicate, and know.
I like it.
L-U-C-K.
I love it.
And it's something that when you look at people who outwardly you would say, oh, they're just really lucky. No.
No such.
They have listened to advice of those around them. They've understood their role within the environment that they're in. They communicate with the world around them in a way that others don't, and they know what they want to achieve. That combination creates their luck. Whether you are a first team football player who always gets onto the team, it's because they listen to their coach. They understand what it is that they need to do. They communicate with their team as to what it is that they're doing on the field, in training, etc., and they know their place within the overall team.
Being that a fanatic when it comes to laws of attraction, I look at that from a whole different perspective. Okay? Now, when you say luck, what's the first letter you call? I mean, what is it again?
Listen.
Okay.
We
Did
missed
you say
one.
what he said? What is the
Listen.
first word that you said?
Listen.
Listen. The laws of attraction is listening to your environment, listening to yourself, knowing your desires. And what is the you for? Sorry?
Understand.
Understand your wants and communicate and know. If you know what you want, you're able to communicate it. The universe brings to you what it is that you seek. And once you desire it and you know what it is, you go after it. You know, they always say the greatest gift that we can give to others and ourselves is listening. By listening, we're able to communicate. By listening, we can achieve so much more. And by listening, we can build better relationships.
And when we look at that moment in time that says, now is my fresh start, first step is always listen to that sentence, because you can then anchor yourself to that moment. This is my fresh start. This day, this moment, everything that's gone before, the negative can stay behind me. I'm not tripping over it. I'm going in that direction. I'm not moving forward and looking over my shoulder, because I will trip over, or I will walk into a lamppost, or I will,
That's true.
I won't see what's coming, and I miss the opportunities that are in front of me.
That is so. And David, the thing about life's journey is that awareness.
We've said it week after week after week, and it comes down to that self-awareness and being able to identify for yourself what it is that you need, you want, and you desire in the right way. We always hear people say, "Oh, I need this to happen so that can happen," when actually what they mean is, I would like this to happen. This is my desire, so this can happen. But by attributing it to need, we take away the importance of need. And as the world faces now increased lockdowns, repeat lockdowns, more serious lockdown measures than we saw earlier in the year, this is a point where there is a real opportunity for us as a species on the planet to look at the fresh start. How do we do this? How do we cope with this moving forward? We've had a taste of this. We didn't like it. We've got to do things differently. We've said it before on the show that the way life had been in 2019 has to be grieved over. We've got to let a lot of those ways of working, the ways of thinking, kind of die and say that's the ultimate victim of the virus. The virus has taken away those systems, those processes, the ways of working, the ways of living. We can't resurrect them, just like we can't resurrect someone that has passed from our family or our circle of friends. What we can do is take the lessons and move forward and build a new, fresh start. And I think it's really powerful that we're able to have the conversation about fresh starts now.
You see, the thing is that due to this pandemic, we've had the opportunity to do the fresh start. We have had the opportunity, to do the fresh start, to get to know members of our staff. Because initially, if you think about it, when you go to work, do you know who works in the mailroom? You go straight to your office.
Yeah, you very rarely do an entire tour of big departments or anything else.
Me, I like to wander anyway, so I'm everywhere. But a lot of people don't actually know other members of their team. Now, this pandemic has given us a fresh start, getting to know who's who through this Zoom call. So now you can no longer just pick up the phone and say, listen, I'm expecting a package from Apple. Has it arrived? Now you get to literally call the person, in the mailroom, have this Zoom meeting, and you get to know who's who.
Yeah.
You just don't know the name. You now have a face to the name.
Yeah.
And that is a fresh start. And that's what we need to appreciate.
The opportunities are endless now.
Precisely.
And with more people having the time, and however harsh it may sound in this moment, when redundancies are flying around the planet like confetti, redundancy is an opportunity. Something that I was taught when I was in the States, and it's something that a lot of people can kind of link to, is sometimes goodbye is a second chance. And it gives us a second chance to look at what we want to do that we would never have looked at before because we never got to say goodbye.
May
we
I?
never thought about saying goodbye to a situation.
Now, I'm used to saying, oh, I have to be over here at so-and-so time. I got a seminar to attend to. Oh, I have been booked for so-and-so because a manager, which indeed he and I were fighting, Ali, he used to always call me like, oh, don't forget you need to be at, so-and-so at 3 o'clock. It's already 2:45. I'm like, okay. But, now that we are no longer doing seminars, we have to restructure ourselves into finding a fresh start of giving
How to
our
work.
message across
Yeah.
to a community. You understand?
yeah.
And we have a bit, we had to think out the box. So when we say a fresh start, it depends on how you look at it.
And it's that mindset.
Precisely.
That you don't have to wait for tomorrow to be the fresh start.
No.
The moment you decide that's it, everything now moves forward. That's your moment for a fresh start. And you don't have to wait for other things to fall into place for you to have that moment of a fresh start. It's something that you decide, you take control of, you work forward on. And when all of the other components that we've talked about over the last few weeks around having the right team in place, having the right components play their part, everything starts to fall into place.
Absolutely.
And that law of attraction starts to become really, really clear. And the universe starts to line up with what it is that's going on for you and what your actual needs, wants and desires are.
Absolutely. You see, the thing is that when we say having a fresh start, it goes so much deep. But again, like you said, I tend to include laws of attraction into my everyday life, David. You understand? When my son was killed, I needed a fresh start. I needed a breath of fresh air. I felt like it was hard for me to breathe. You understand? I did not know whether I was coming or going. I had to really sit down, meditate, and try to find myself again.
And that's
So-
part of that grieving process that you were going through. And as you come to kind of a point in that process, you kind of go, okay, so now I need to find me again.
The realization that
It's not something that happens
overnight.
It's not something that happens easily. And it's something that, having had those conversations with you over the last year or so, it's something that builds daily, and it takes time and it takes work. But the mindset of, I need that fresh start, that stays with you all the way through.
That is true, because the 1-year anniversary of my son being killed is coming up. So it's so difficult for me right now, even just talking about it. But again,
We've had those conversations, and it's like you say, anything that kind of gives you a link to that past, that pain, that hurt, that trauma, that's the anchor. Okay, so that moment is the anchor, and you will always have a connection to it, right? Because you can't not have that memory, right? When that anchor first landed on your lap, it weighed hundreds of tons.
definitely.
And the chain that was attached to it weighed just as much. And over time, and over the processing and the grieving and the work that you've done, you've been able to stretch that chain out. So the anchor is still there, but the chain that links you to it hasn't felt as heavy. And as the anchor kind of rattles on the chain and says, hey, that's a year ago. It's a year ago.
Yeah.
You have that sense of connection. It's like the nerve runs back to it. but you're still able to take yourself away from the moment that anchor hit.
That is
You
true.
are not holding that anchor any longer. And the mindset of a fresh start is reminded to you every single day while that chain is being rattled.
You know, the thing, David, is that we need to do a video on grievance, you understand? Because so many people have lost family members, you know,
Mhm.
it's hard for them.
Mm.
And the most difficult thing is letting go.
It is. And the hardest part for anyone who has lost somebody in the pandemic is those people who have been lost to other things that aren't connected to the pandemic. Because it's almost as though the world is in trauma and is grieving, but anything outside of what's caused that is almost secondary. And it's the hardest thing that I hear in, week out, is people that have lost somebody and it's got nothing to do with corona. It's almost like they're caught up by the pandemic, but they can't grieve independently because of the pandemic. They can't communicate independently of the pandemic. It has bled into absolutely everything. And I think you're right, doing a show on grief and kind of possibly having guests that actually connect on that will be useful.
That is true.
But for this
But,
show,
yeah, let's focus back onto
a fresh
a
start,
fresh start. You know?
because it has helped you every single day,
Absolutely,
and
because
it's been something that's
You see,
powerful for you.
absolutely, because having a fresh, every day that I get up, I have to look at it as a fresh start. A day without my son. You understand? Every day that I get up, I have to acknowledge the fact that he's no longer with me and he's no longer coming back. How do I move on? I have to look at it from a positive, aspect, as to say he's in a better place. I have to be grateful that I was able to spend that time with them, that he was
He
here.
taught you a lot in
He
the time he was
definitely-
here.
When you say caring, he's the utmost. I can, when we say fresh start, we can also reflect on the positive of the past. I can recall me driving to Boston and being in Jersey at my house and him sneaking in the morning like, Dad, what time are we leaving? And I'll tell him, you're not going with me. But he would know I'm tired. But by the time I get in the car, he's sitting on the driver's side like, I'm driving you. So we have pictures that I can reflect on and that always put a smile on my face. And I remember he and I in Boston having the best of time, the way we connected. I found a whole different Alpha than I knew, and how jolly he is. He's jolly, of course, but it's like the way he just, every minute I turn around, Dad, we're in Boston, let's go fishing.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, it's cold.
So,
Let's get.
And this is the thing, is those moments, those memories that are there will never fade.
that is so true.
And that, like we said, you carry forward the things that matter, and you can let go of the parts that don't. And a fresh start does not mean a clean break from anything.
No.
Because the human brain doesn't let you do that. There's no way of wiping those memories and going, do you know what? Now's your fresh start. This is not Total Recall. You don't wipe the brain and go, okay, that's it. I'm born
but,
again.
we have the
It's-
subconscious for that.
Yeah. And
That
that's,
which indeed holds back, suppresses all those memories.
and at some point, the brain will say, okay, now you're ready to remember this bit. And it will give you that
Exactly.
memory.
Yeah.
And it will probably be when you least expect it and you really
Just
don't
like you
want
just
it.
hit me a minute ago.
It's like, hey, there you go, let's have that. But your brain is phenomenally powerful at being able to let you experience those memories when you're in a position to be able to cope. So if you've been through something that has been particularly traumatic, for example, your brain can suppress it. We know that happens. But as you process that information, as you come to terms with it, as you move forward with your fresh start, the brain kind of goes, okay, I can let this one out. You can remember this now. And I can let you see that because you've got the skills and the resilience to understand it.
Of course.
And that is something that should never, ever be seen as taking you away from your fresh start. It's not what the brain's trying to do. It's not trying to pull you back and say, no, you're not having a fresh start today. It's not happening. It's letting you know that you can process moving forward.
See, the thing is that, ladies and gentlemen, I want us all to understand one thing. When you are in a relationship, you break up with someone, that don't mean your life has come to an end. That means you have the opportunity to have a fresh start. Now, the time that you've spent, just knowing yourself, recouping, you understand, gives you the ability to know your wants and needs. So that way, when you get back into a relationship, you will get into that relationship with a fresh start. So it's not the mere fact that you're just getting into something. It's the fact that now you know what you want. So you go in there with a fresh start, a new beginning, new desires, growth, perspective. When you lose your job, you understand, you cannot always reflect on the negative. Always, when you lose your job, try to go for a better job, a better position, a form of growth, a new start. Don't be here and say, I'm going to have a fresh start here. Always trying to climb the ladder. If I was dating Princess Diana, may her soul rest in peace, I would go for the queen next. Hypothetically, always try to climb up the ladder. Don't always say I'm going to have a fresh start and be at the same level. Try to excel. That is all I'm saying. Depending on who you are, where you are, and depending on the circumstances.
And growth is something that comes from adversity.
True.
We never grow from our comfort zone.
No.
Ever. We get to our comfort zone and we go, okay, I don't need to grow anymore. Thank you very much, I've arrived.
I'm comfortable, I'm here.
This is it. As soon as we have a point of adversity, our brain says, okay, now I'm uncomfortable, I've got to do something to get comfortable again. And that's the opportunity that we have as a species on this planet now. This is our chance to take a fresh start as a species. We have been through the pandemic now. We have seen what it can do. We've seen how mixed messages have impacted across the planet, and how until we get to a point where we say, right, fresh start, what are we carrying forward? What can we do rather than what can't we do? Well, we know we can't do certain things because of the risks due to the virus. But we know that virus is going to be around now forever. We have to come to terms with that. We have to find new ways of working and living with it around us. But if we are going to carry on repeating the mistakes of the last 6 months when it comes to having a fresh start, we're going to stay exactly where we are now. And we are not going to grow forward.
The thing about having a fresh start, David, like you said, is the ability of saying that's the past. I need to move forward. Recognizing where you've gone wrong, what you've done wrong, and what you want out of yourself and your expectation. So, in life, it's always about growth. Having a fresh start is not always to say, well, I've lost this, I've lost that, this is it, or I'm in a relationship, it ended. Like David said, comfortability is something that make us just get too
Sit still.
comfortable. Exactly.
Makes us sit still.
But
Yeah, it's
when
like-
we go through this uncomfortability position, things that make us uncomfortable, that's when we really say you get evicted in the winter time. You know now is the time to do something because you don't want to freeze. A fresh start of it.
Yeah.
You will strive harder to achieve.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As we kind of bring the show to a close, I just want to share something that I heard from an amazing frontline athlete, an amazing individual, heart of gold, and someone who hit the world of athletics and took it by storm. He became Olympic champion, and his training program that made him Olympic champion became replicated across the world. And sprinters around the world now understood how he became Olympic champion. And all the chicken nuggets and everything else, that's a myth, okay? The guy had chicken nuggets, but not every day. He trained like a Trojan. He was phenomenal. But he knew the day that he became Olympic champion, his comfort zone ended. He had to step up. The comfort that he had in the training program that got him there was no longer valid because everyone else now knew what his training program was, knew what it could do, and they wanted to replicate it. For Usain Bolt, he had to go and get uncomfortable at the moment of most success.
Of course.
And that's the key. The mindset to say, even when I'm in comfort, I can look out for my fresh start. And we don't have to wait for adversity. But right now, this is the time to take that fresh start. Don't wait.
Thank you so much, David. This is quite enlightening. So, ladies and gentlemen, as David said, as the show comes to an end, take a deep breath. Tomorrow is another day. What you've gone through today, look at it tomorrow. It's a whole new day. It's a fresh start. What had occurred today, tomorrow, look at it as it has occurred. It's the past. Let's always have in mind, whatever happens today, you have the opportunity tomorrow to say, you know what, I have the moment to have a fresh start. And David stated, Bolt. People knew his style of training. So even though he was at the peak of his best, he still looked at every day as a new triumph, as a new way to achieve. Every day is a fresh start. Why? Because people wanted what he had, what he has. So to wait to keep it,
keep going.
is to keep it. So every day, look, it's a new day, fresh start. Try to excel, try to achieve, and keep climbing the mountain. David?
Every day you will learn something that will help you tomorrow. Don't forget what you learned yesterday. Keep moving forward. Guys, have a great week. See you next time.
Thank you all for watching.
Take care.
God bless.
Amaze TV is here to restore, rebuild, revive the nation.
We can never appreciate the hardship that creates a feeling of having nothing, but we can create the change that makes a difference. Join us, and together we can have an impact.
It's time for us to change the narrative and extend our humanity to the entire world.
Love is kind. It is not self-seeking. Let us extend our love and kindness in the best possible way we can.
Freely you have received the love of God. Freely give back to society. Extend a blessing to someone out there.
One can chase 1,000, but two can chase 10,000.
We believe in our communities and we believe in our youths. Let's work together and make a difference.
Our world needs you to be a part of a revolutionary change.
United we stand, divided we fall.
Give love.
Show love.
Hashtag Give love, show love.